Hi, so I wanted to show you the functionality that I've been working on in specfile library. And because it's something that we will use in rebase helper, but I was curious if this functionality is something that we would also want to use in Packit. Okay, let's start. I will show it on or demonstrate it on real world spec files from Fedora. So let's start. We have this spec file. As you can see, the version tag is defined by this macro, which is in turn defined by these four macros. So let's load the spec file and let's try updating the version tag. So update tag and version, and we will set the version for 4.10.3.0. So we are changing patch version and revision. Okay, let's do that. Let's save the spec file. And as you can see, the patch version and the revision changed. This didn't change and this didn't change. Let's see here the differences. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back. Let's load the spec file. Let's try to doing the same thing, but this time let's not set the revision. If and as you can see, this time this macro was changed, was replaced. If I show the diff, so you can see that this macro was replaced because this format, which has 3 dots, doesn't match this format, which has 2 dots. So it wasn't possible to determine which part of the string is which macro. So it was just replaced as it is. Okay, let's proceed to the next example. This one. Here it's a bit more complicated. As you can see, there is a conditional macro expansion. And let's try this. Let's load it. And let's update version again. And let's use, let's say we will just bump the RC version to RC3. So that file. And as you can see, the RC version was changed. So that's great. Let's go back. And let's try to set it to the final version. So no RC version anymore. Let's save. And now we can see that the macro expansions were overwritten because there is no RC version in the string. So this part couldn't be replaced. And so again, it was replaced and no macros were preserved. What we could do, go back, we could comment out this macro. So now this part is no longer concerned because the macro isn't defined. And if we load and we do the same thing again and save, now you can see nothing has been changed from the version, so we can see something at least. Yeah, and you can see that the patch version was updated. Okay, next example. So in this spec file, we will try to change source 0. As you can see, there is this package var macro in the URL. It's twice, it's there twice. That's one thing. And another thing, as you can see, here is package name, which is shake, and here is version, which is actually this version tag. So let's try updating that. So first load it, spec, and let's update the source 0 tag. We will use the same URL. We will just, as you can see, we are replacing just the version with 0.20. The spec file. And as you can see, this didn't change. And the only thing that changed is version. If, sorry, I forgot to accept the changes. Now you can see only the version was changed. Okay, let's go back again and reload, and let's try. Let's say that URL schema has changed, and it's now, for example, archive packages. Let's save that. Let's save that, and let's. And now you can see the version was correctly updated, and also the URL, but the macro definitions were preserved, or macro expansions were preserved. Okay. Another example. And now I'm going to show you something that, well, something that can't really work. Like you can see, this is another simple spec file, just 3 macro definitions that are used here as a version, but this time there is no separator between them. So if I will load the spec file and I will update the version, I will just change the day, save. And now you can see that the day wasn't touched, but the version was replaced because, like I said, it's not possible to tell which part of the string is corresponds to which macro. In this case, it's kind of obvious to a human, but there could be cases where it's not obvious even to a human, so the implementation just doesn't try to guess and just replaces the value. And the last example, that's actually something that Marek Suchy mentioned in this issue with federal license data. So let's take a look. So here we have source 0, which is defined like name version RGZ. And let's say that we want to set source 0, but we want to make sure that source 0 is some value that we want to set it to, but we want to, if it's possible, preserve the macros so the value actually stays the same. So let's do that. Let's load the spec file. And let's set the audio tag. This is the file name that we want to set, it to. And update tag has one other argument that we are going to use, and that's protected entities. Is a regular expression that defines which tags and macro definitions we want to protect so they won't be changed. So in this case, we don't want to change anything. So we will protect everything. And we will update, we will save. And as you can see, nothing happened, which is expected because the expanded value of this tag already expands to this. So this is expected. So we'll even reload, and we will try to bump the version. So we will say 1.6. Save. And now, as you can see, the server 0 tag was changed, so the macro expansions were replaced, or tag expansions. But we can be sure that the server 0 tag has this value. Okay, so let's go back. Let's load. And let's say that we will update the version, which is now 0.5 to 0.6 first. And now we will do the same as before, and we will update the server 0 tag. And we will save. And now, as we can see, the version is changed, but the server 0 tag stay the same. But we are sure that it actually expands to this value. So that's something that I think could be useful in Packit if we want to be sure that some tag or some value is what we want it to be, but at the same time, if possible, we don't want to replace the macro expansions and keep it like it is. To keep the final diff of the spec file as minimal as possible. Okay, that's all from me, and see you.